Jessica Robinson, and the name of my speech is Don't Say That Word, the N-word. So what's the purpose of this? The purpose is to explain to people who are not black on why it is not appropriate or not okay to say the N-word. Why does this matter? It matters because somebody like me who is African American, when I hear somebody who is not black or did not go through any of the oppressions of what it means to come to say the N-word, it's kind of offensive, and I kind of feel offended when I hear somebody else hear it and they don't have to deal with the actions that come along with saying that word. So how would you feel if you vent to somebody about how your mom made you upset, then they're like, hey, your mom is just stupid? It would probably make you mad. Why? Well, because that's your mom. So it's okay for you to say it, but if somebody else says that about your mom, it's really offensive. That's how the N-word works. The word today is still offensive. So in a Dear White People episode, this black guy named Reggie goes to a party and the guys are singing the N-word, and he tells them that how basically, even though they're okay with being called honky, he's not okay with being or hearing the word nigga. So they should respect that and not say it. And the guy comes up to Professor Randall Kennedy and speaks to him at his book signing about how the word affects him. He says, Professor, I've heard all of what you have had to say about the word and analysis of why sometimes niggers should be tolerated. I've heard it, but I'm going to tell you something. When I hear the word nigger, I remember that word was used by people who would not allow me to vote and sat me at the back of the bus. When I hear that word, that is all I think about. And you see, that kind of took something to his heart. Even though this is like 10 years later, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years later, still puts a toll on a lot of people. And then even Oprah says that she doesn't like the word because it reminds her of the history of what her ancestors had to go through before they died. That was the last word that they would hear. And even till this day, the word is still used negatively, you know. Being a situation where a white person may just say nigga, even though to them they're not saying it to be offensive, we would never know because back at one point, every time they said it, it would be offensive. For instance, at the Margarita Fest in 2016, a woman got into a confrontation with a black couple and she proceeded to call them nigger multiple times in ways to try to make them angry or try to, get the situation going to offend them. Another parking lot brawl example that also happened in 2016, a man resulted to call a woman nigger multiple times and she got so upset by the word, she began to become physical with the man. And then in the Spoken Reasons video, they also show how saying the word just bluntly out there, how black people react to the word. And in the video, they're kind of looking at the guy like, what are you doing? Like, that's not okay. So non-blacks did not go through the same oppression as black people did. So that's another reason why it's not okay. In a YouTube video with Flama, they interviewed Hispanics and African Americans. And in the video, there was a woman who basically said everything to come to terms. She says, if you're a person who has never been called the N-word in a negative way, or if you've never been in a situation where you fear being called the N-word in a negative way, then I don't think that you can really reclaim a word that you've never been oppressed by. Very true. There's also a Paul Mooney line that says everybody wants to be a nigga until it's time to be a nigga. That is very true. People want to result in saying the word nigga, use nigga traditions and everything, but when it becomes time to be oppressed by the word nigga or be racist towards because of the word nigga, nobody wants to be involved in that. And there's also a CNN video where they interviewed people on the street and they asked them what if honky or nigger was offensive, and a lot of people, including white women and a black man, both said that nigger was more offensive, and to them it just had a deeper negative connotation. Even though both words were racist, both nigger and honky was racist, nigger had a deeper negative feeling to it. So basically, just don't say the word. The word is very offensive and it hurts people around you. Even though today's terms are different, it's still so much history behind it. We just never know who we're gonna offend. And whether that's nigger or nigga, both being used by someone who does not press by either word is very, very offensive. As for example, white people get called honky. Don't use that word. Same with African Americans.